Hello friends, I'm Emerald and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite Figma plugins. I am ride or die Figma. I started using Figma 2 years ago and ever since then, every time I touch an Adobe product, I feel like I'm touching something from the 90s, probably because it was designed in the 90s. Figma is so beautiful, it's so intuitive. You have the plugin library, which is what I'm going to be talking about today, and I love it. Figma does what I want it to do constantly. And if you have ever used an Adobe product, you know how rare that is. Pause. Hi, Editing Emerald. I know that Figma bought Adobe. I'm just pretending that didn't happen. And I know technically they're the same thing now, but I'm not gonna acknowledge that. Okay, bye. I could rant about Figma all day. That's not what you're here for. You're here for my favorite plugins. So without further ado, I am gonna get to this list. So my first one is Artboard Studio Mockup. I love this so much, I pay for the premium version. And I know mockups in general aren't that like hard to do. You just do multiply layer, blah, 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 blah. But having the blanks is so nice and it skews it for you and you can just work right in this file. And I know Photoshop does the same thing with the smart layers, but this to me is so much more convenient. I don't have to go on Mr. Mockup and all these websites and dig up mockups or dig up like actual base images. It's just all there. It's so beautiful. None of them have backgrounds. I could make any background I want so easy. I love it. I give them money every month. Incredible. Thank you. My second one is Icon 8 Background Remover. This again has saved me so much time. It is such an important part of my workflow. I can manipulate so much stuff just using this because I can remove background and then use that as a mask. It just chunks up my projects. It's so accurate. It's so convenient. It cuts down my workflow. Essential. I love it. I use it every day. Number 3 on this list, Better Font Picker. The only flaw of Figma, and I mean this when I say the only flaw, is that they don't have a normal font picker. This gives you the classic version where you can see all of your fonts all at once and just browse it, and it just fills the only gap that Figma has, and it does it so perfectly. So I legitimately cannot design without this. If I had to choose one out of the 3, for practicality reasons, it would probably have to be this one, sadly. But, you know, I'm gonna turn a blind eye, even though this is kind of a glaring issue, but like I said, it's the only glaring issue. The next one is Trace Image BW. And this is for all my lazy girls out there. I used to be taking the illustrations that I made and putting them in Illustrator and then copying them over and doing image trace. But now it's just a plugin and I can do it and I use it all the time. It's not like the cleanest, but it gets the job done. And especially for like little mockups and things like that, if you just need to throw something in, vectorize it, change a color, it works so well for that. And then coming in at number 5 is HTML.2.design. And yes, I struggled saying that. I'm a little dyslexic. Numbers mean nothing. Letters mean nothing to me. I'm gonna ignore myself, but this has gone really viral recently. It's all over TikTok. I love seeing how other people structure their websites. When you go and use this, it actually shows you like what they're naming their div blocks and how they're grouping their sites together and what are sections, what are containers. And it's just really cool to see. It's super convenient to have. I do it for like my own projects. I just used it on my Behance profile and downloaded all of my like Behance projects all in one, and it's just so functional. I love it so much. So those top 5 are like my ride or die. I feel strongly about these ones too, but these are like all kind of in the same realm. I could live without, but they're still fantastic. So number 6 is Lore. It's simple. Lore Mipsum anywhere. Again, I could live without it. There are websites where I could download it, but it's still nice and convenient. I also love the Unsplash plugin. It works so well. It detects what you are clicking on and instantly fills your photo into that space. So if you have like a rectangle, it just pops a little rectangle in there in your image exactly how you want it. And it's just so convenient for making fake websites, things like that. It's a plane going by. Can you go? Can you go? Thank you. The plane is gone. My next one is Brand Fetch. This one's a little bit specific, but for my corporate girls out there, if you have a job where you're constantly like building websites that say like, we work with Amazon and PayPal and stuff like that, use Brand Fetch. It's this big database of everybody's logos, and it gives you multiple different options, word marks, icons, and SVGs and PNGs, and they're all beautifully transparent and high res. I'm at my last two, so my next one is simply called Arc, and it's just for arcing text. Figma does lack in those like very classic Adobe Illustrator like curve text and things of that nature. This is like the bare minimum, and it's enough for me to work with, which I appreciate. And then finally, my last one is also kind of in that vein, and it's called SkewDat. And it just gives you more options for manipulating things in Figma, especially photos. I use this a lot when I was doing a lot of tech mockups where I would have like the phone and then like the things popping out. To get that perspective, I would use this without having to go into like Photoshop or a different program. So yeah, those are all my essential Figma plugins. If you have any other plugins that you love to use, I would love to hear about it. If you are also a part of the Figma fan club, please join me and tell me how much you love it in the comments below, and we can bond over that. So I hope you guys got something from this video. If you have any questions ever, comments, concerns, please them below. Please drop them below. And maybe one day I'll learn how to speak. But until that moment comes, I will just be here designing and rambling. Great. Bye guys.